Hello. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. I hope your week was not stressful. I hope you had, I don't know, an easy time dealing with people around you. And I hope life was just generally kind to you. Anyways, today I want to continue what I started, and I feel like this is going to be a while. Making videos about this whole con topic or this whole area of existence, basically. And last time I spoke about setting yourself free in the sense of me setting myself free. And the way I could process a part of it was speaking out, and that's why that video exists because of setting myself free. So today now I encountered a kind of, I don't know, a kind of conversation, or I don't know if I'll call it conversation, but I don't know, some things happened, and then I had this whole conversation. It inspired me to think of the next thing, which is now that you are free, what next? The idea of freedom, like I keep saying, is that you are always free. You've always been free. Your default state is being free. So, coming into awareness of your freedom, it takes intention, especially if you've been conditioned or you live in an environment that has made you believe that you are not your own person and that you are not autonomous. I learned that word again. The last time I was doing a lot of sovereign. Now autonomous is more aligning to my ideas. And so now you are free. What next? You understand? And somebody that has been um feeling like they were not their own person for the longest time, and you come to this decision to be free, like me now, I came to the decision to be free. And then after coming to that decision to be free, I was free. And now that I'm free, I'm like, okay, like how it felt, it felt a lot. There was a lot of uncertainty. I didn't know what to do. It was like there was this whole huge, the way the Grand Canyon is, but something even bigger. Like my mind was just so vast with possibilities, and then it was all too much. It was overwhelming, and then I was like, kind of, you know, I I hesitated. You understand? Which is normal. Is what I'm trying to say is that when you set yourself free, which you've always been free, but when you come to the awareness of your freedom, you are going to feel a lot of uncertainty. Dare I say fear? Yes, there will be a lot of feelings of fear, but that is very normal. In fact, feeling fear is one of the experiences of living. You get, and those the situation you were in before, the reason why it went on for so long was that this person or this situation or this dynamic removed that aspect of dealing with fears, by yourself. That person was supposed to be, or that situation or that dynamic was supposed to be your cushioning effect to the real world, to you were not allowed, you're not allowed to make decisions by yourself. And the idea of making decisions involves a lot of uncertainty and fear. Even the simplest things, you start to question, like, oh, but this person was, or this dynamic was always in charge of all those actions in your life. And now you are like, okay, I'm free. How do I make my very first decision, which is what to do moving forward? There is no clue, there is no handbook. The person that was controlling you or the situation you were in, they too had no handbook. They were just going on vibes, you know. But they had this whole arrogance of control, because you can never really control somebody. But they have this self conviction of control, where they feel like they can control everything that happens around them. And so because they went in this arrogance, in this confidence, things happened exactly as they wanted. You understand? So it's not like they have any superpower, it's not like they know better. It's not like they are more wiser than you ever were or you ever could be. It's not like they're stronger, it's not like they are more knowledgeable. This is your life, this is my life, okay? And I am allowed to make mistakes. That's the second part. Facing fears, facing uncertainty, and then accepting that mistakes are natural. Failure is natural. You get, I'm not saying, okay, failure is natural in the sense of, not failure of the sense of like living in failure and accepting that that is who you are, not that kind of state of mind. I mean, just ordinary um fails that come with trying something new. You get, the wonderful experience of being alive is the joy of trying something new, is the joy of making an attempt on the things that you want for yourself. Like ever since you've been in that dynamic, or ever since I was in that dynamic, let me just keep using I now because this is about me. But like when I was in that dynamic for so long, you get, I began to see life as this thing where, how do I explain it? I began to see life as this thing where, okay, somebody would think for me, but it wasn't conscious. So I would think it personally. I'll be like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then I is that person's voice in my head. You know, I is that person's motivations in my head. I is that person's expectations and desires in my head speaking forth because I had been programmed. And once you are programmed or conditioned to be um to feel as if you are not free, to be dependent or to be stuck in that circle of oppression, you you don't hear your own voice anymore. It's not like the voices are not there. Your voice is there, loud and clear, but you're not in a habit of listening to it because you don't recognize it. The only thing you recognize is that person, is the dynamic of that connection with that person, or I don't want to keep using person because it may not be one person. It may be your family, your entire family. It may be your church. It may be your religious leaders. And I had all of that. I had religious leaders, different religious leaders for different stages of my life. My family, and not family as in one person, but the expectations of my roles as also person born so so family. You get, then there was the individual expectations of a parent and another parent. You get, all of that was just in my head, and then social expectations too of my colleagues, what they see me as, what I present as in school, what I present as working with other people. Do you understand? All of that can be a lot to process when you start working in your freedom. But the point is, keep working. Nobody has it figured out. Nobody knows what the next step is going to be. Nobody does. Everybody just works according to their desire. So to backtrack, now that you are free, the first thing you are going to experience is fear. Fear that comes with uncertainty, the fears that comes with trying something new, and the other thing is desires. You begin to understand or come into the awareness of what you want from life. Do you get, you start to desire things. It can be as easy as, oh, I don't want to eat this thing, because when you start working your freedom, you realize how much of a hold this whole situation had you in, to the extent that even to eat, you might not be able to make a choice of what to eat by yourself. You get, and now that you are free, you can take that as your first challenge. What am I going to eat? I've always been eating this thing, all those foods, the snacks, everything that I've been eating while being in this situation. Like, why don't I try something new? If I still like the same thing I like, then that means okay, that was under my control. But if I you there's a chance that more majority of what you're going to pick to eat would be different. How you're going to eat will be different. How you're going to cook your food will be different. Something that I'm also coming to terms with and I'm exploring, and it's part of why every day I wake up I feel very, I don't know, excited. I'm like, oh, today, what am I going to do today? How am I going to live my life? So desires is plays a very role in fleshing out your freedom. You get, now you begin to ask yourself before you make decisions, you ask yourself, what do I want? And that's a very important question to ask yourself. I feel like maybe you should put it in a card somewhere when you wake up in the morning and you're like, today, another day, day two of being free. What do I want? How do I want my day to go? What do I do in my life for the rest like of my life going forward? you know and to give a very easy example, was for so long I believed that I wanted to study medicine. Yet I was so sure that I wanted to study medicine, and this is like from childhood. Yeah, before that point where has been layers. Okay, there were layers there were stories being told, there were expectations being put forth, there were very clear um, desires from the people that were my first loves, my parents. Okay, I call it. They had this way of speaking to me, in particular. Of course, me and my siblings were all different. We all process parenting differently. But for me, there was this way they spoke to me, and this way they spoke about life in general. And somehow the idea was just implanted in my head. Oh, you have to be a doctor for this person's sake. And um, it was a bit tragic in a sense because it's like, oh, here I am, new to this world and eager to make this person happy. It was like, here was I, new to this world and eager to make these people happy. So eager that I didn't even recognize that I was being programmed to do something. I didn't even recognize that my thoughts and my feelings were not mine. I didn't recognize that it wasn't my voice I was hearing in my head. And I didn't recognize that the ambitions that I was eagerly flaunting and trumping about were not mine. They're not who I was. And, as a kid and a teenager, and then a young adult, coming into that awareness of knowing that you were oppressed or conditioned feels feels bad. I don't regret following that path for as long as it took me there because I don't regret it because you see that I found myself. My voice still came out. My real self still came out. You get the voices in my head. I truly believe they were mine until the rubber hits the road in a very, very working, like a very awesome medical school where everything was available and there was no longer any excuse, to hide from who I was. The voices of said parents, said family, said society were so far away from me. Do you get? That's another very funny thing and cool thing about being free is that freedom comes with a change of location. I don't know. A change of location usually precedes your freedom. Somehow, I don't know if that makes sense. One day I looked in the mirror and it was like, I don't recognize this person. Who the fuck are you? You know that kind of thing. I don't know if you know that kind of thing, but to me, like, okay. I was like, who the fuck are you, bro? Asking that question, who are you? It um really brought me to where I am right now and it's still unraveling. You understand? So now that you're free, another question you can ask yourself is who am I? Who am I without this voice in my head? I don't know how else to break it down other than to tell you that the part of you that has been waiting to ask that question will process the question better. Yeah. So I don't know if I managed to pass across any information in this video because like I'm still kind of new to this whole thing and I'm not new in the sense of speaking about it because I've cultivated a very wonderful personal environment around myself where I speak to lovely people where about how I feel, and all of that. It's not therapy. But yeah, I hope I'm able to pass across something. And when I go through the video again and edit and blah blah blah, I'm still going to make notes and I guess fine tune them probably in a future video. I trust that you will be able to pick awesome things from this video. You understand? And now that you're free, what I would say is that take the first step. Take the first step. Now that you're free, take the first step, bro, or sis, or whatever we identify as. But yeah, now that you're free, take the first step. Take the first step. Take the first step. And I'll see you in another video, possibly another addition to this series or not. If I'm inspired, I would make a video for it. Anyway, thanks for being here. I like you. Subscribe, leave comments, and also give me tips, your own freedom journey, what you've learned so far, or if you are just starting, or if you've been on your freedom walk for a very long time. So like, I'm sure people would appreciate seeing your advice in my comments. Okay, bye bye. Have a lovely weekend. How do you like my look? I supposed to help you. I wore collar shirt, I wore a necklace and lipstick. Like, what do you think? I'm pretty cool, yeah? Pretty cool, subscribe.